Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday build stream. I'm your host, Ben Estrino, over here at the Empower Gaming Studio, and today we're building another awesome PC. So, sit back, relax, enjoy. Make sure to ask all the questions, so if you have any questions during the build, I always welcome any questions, even if it's not related to the build. If you have technical questions or questions regarding your PC or PC components or maybe a build that you're building, I'm always happy to answer questions. So bring it on. All right. First things first. Let me go flip this one switch. Whoa. I came back from the dock. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started with running through the loadout, so to speak, or the build sheet, and find out what we're building with today. Let me send one notification out too. Okay, notification went out to the person we're building for today, just to make sure they knew we're alive. All right, so today we're building with a Ryzen 5 3600, which has 6 cores, 12 threads, and a max boost of 4.2 gigahertz. And that's stock out of the box. It's an AM4 processor on the AM4 platform. The cooler we're going to be using is a Thermalright Assassin SE 120 millimeter PWM addressable RGB fan. I'm sorry, no. We actually have a, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, we have a 240 millimeter AIO that we're building with. For some reason on my build sheet it's wrong. I think we're going to do a stock air cooler or a Thermalright air cooler, and then we switch that to a 240 millimeter AIO because we get a pretty good deal on it. So we upgraded the cooler, by the way. So we were originally going to go with an air cooler, and we upgraded it to the 240 millimeter AIO for you. Sorry about the light reflection. But this guy, which is much bigger and better. Alright, so, and it's a Gigabyte B450 DS3H Wi-Fi micro ATX motherboard here. This guy we use in a lot of builds, especially if we're trying to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak. And then we have 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 megahertz. which is this guy over here. Let me get it in the shot. This is the Silicon Power Zenith series, which is two 16 gigabyte sticks instead of the 4/8. This is going to be a little bit faster, and it's CL16. And it also has addressable RGB on it, which is cool. Then we've also got the 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe, and that's Gen 3 by Silicon Power. And then we're going to be building with a GeForce RTX 3060 12 gigabyte GDDR6 128-bit PCIe 4.0. I don't know why it says 5.0, but it's a 4.0 card. But this is 12 gigabytes of beautiful RTX magic with the ray tracing and everything. Then we have a 750 watt 80 plus bronze power supply, which is semi-modular, and this is by RS Game. And we also have, for some reason, don't know if they made it. Anyway, we have some black, it's showing some black cables, and we have some fans that we're going to be using by Thermalright, which are 120 millimeter addressable RGB PWM. Again, which are going to go in that case over there, which is a case. What's the name of this brand? I think it's Amson. So I've been experimenting with other brands, but these are really cool little micro ATX cases that look like a Lian Li 011 Dynamic, but it's much smaller and perfect for this type of build, and it looks badass when it's done. So overall, this PC is going to look really amazing when it's done. So I'm looking forward to this. It will be a little bit of a pain to build in that case because it's not your, you know, it's not like a Lian Li case. So overall, let's go ahead and get started. Jump right into the build, shall we? Let me get it switched over. Let's switch it over to the top-down view. Much better, where I just hover over here in the corner and talk to you as we're building. All right, so we're not going to need this quite yet, so we're going to go ahead and set that aside. We're going to need these in a little bit, but not right away. The graphics card we won't need right away, so I'll set that aside as well. We are going to need the CPU, the motherboard, the RAM, and the SSD. I'm going to set the case aside as well. Really don't need that. And let's go ahead and get the motherboard out and get started on this build. The long-awaited build. But anyway, feel free to comment and ask questions if you have any. If you have any questions, let me know. Happy to answer anything. We're going to try to build this within about an hour or so. We're going to try to keep the build within an hour, is what we will attempt to do. No guarantees there. Let me get some tools. I'm going to need some tools. Alright, tools acquired. Let's go. This is also number 640 on the year, so build number 640. That's 640 builds in the year of 2023, which is pretty badass. We're targeting that 1200 mark before the end of the year. We just got to find about, what is it, 560 more builds. It gets a little crazy during the holiday season, so that's usually when we hit a ton of builds, or we have a ton of builds, is during the holiday season. And there's usually so many I'm not even able to stream all of them because I just gotta put my head down and build like a crazy madman during the holiday season to make sure that they're ready for that very special day. Alright, 32 gigs of DDR4, 3200 megahertz going in. we go. And now we're going to install the M.2 NVMe SSD, which is 1 terabyte of storage. And that's going to go here in the M.2 slot. All right, here we go. We've got our 1 terabyte. Hey, what's up? Good afternoon. How's it going over there? We've got our 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD installed, our Ryzen 5 3600, and our two 16 gig sticks, total of 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory installed by Silicon Power Zenith. So this motherboard is ready to go. The only thing we have to do now is get the mounting hardware set up here. But I think this one has the clips that just clip onto these plastics, so this is actually good to go. So we're going to set that aside, get the case out. Not bad. Leaves are changing like crazy up here in the UP. Yeah, I know, man. I heard you guys might be even getting snow very soon up there. Let's get the case out. And this case is a Amazon case. Kind of like that mini ITX, or I'm sorry, mini ATX, micro ATX, mini micro ATX, I guess is the right term for it. Dual chamber case. So what that means is we have one chamber for the motherboard and graphics card primarily, and the cooling, and then you have the other side, the back side, which is going to be the chamber for the power supply and extra storage and cables. So that's your chamber that kind of hides all that fun stuff. It's got good ventilation here, which is what we like to see for this style of case. And then we have your pretty standard cables that come with the I/O panel, or the front panel, which is your USB 3, USB 2, your HD audio, microphone and headset, another USB 2.0, a restart, and a power switch. Pretty standard. I don't know if that front glass comes off though, honestly. Not sure if that is removable or not. Doesn't feel like it. At least not very easily. But it's okay, we can work around that. I don't know, I'll have to read the manual to see if that's actually removable. Either way, that's fine. Not a big deal. I don't even need to remove it for the build. I was just curious. Doesn't look like it'd be very simple to remove, but it's okay. There we go. We've got, I've already got the hardware out of the case, so we're pretty much ready to drop the motherboard in here. We do have a I/O shield that we want to install, and we also need to move this guy down here. So, gotta move one stud. Too early to be swearing like that, lol. What do you mean? I'm not swearing, am I? Or did I just say the word snow? Alright, so we moved that stud. And now we're ready to put on our I/O shield and get the motherboard dropped in. And then we'll start working on the cooling, which are the fans. saying snow in September. I know. I know. I feel bad saying it, but that's what they're predicting, you know? And let me know if I'm popping on the mic. I have a tendency to make the mic too loud, and then it gets all crackly and ugh. I mean, I don't mean to swear or say that word, snow, in September, but I mean, it's the truth, right? It's coming. Winter is coming. Audio is good. Awesome. We have a good mixture of music, and you can hear me well over here and over here. Probably better if I turn my head this way towards the mic. But yeah, I'm not ready for it either. I'm not ready for the snow. I don't want to think about the snow. I don't want to have to deal with a shovel because we have a gravel driveway. So I really can't do the snow blower. So I shovel my driveway. Either that or I don't shovel it at all. There we go. Motherboard is installed. Now we can do the 2 fans here, the 2 fans down here, and the 1 fan up here on the side. And we can get started with the cables down here. I think we might want to do before we get too far with the fans. Actually, we'll just do them. And we'll call it a day. Shove these cables through their respected holes and get them all plugged in up here on the board. This is our front panel USB 3.0 connection that we're plugging in right now. And then this is our front panel power and reset connection that we're going to be plugging in. And then our HD LED light, which indicates drive activity. Might not have a lot of snow this year due to the El Nino. Yes, I know. It should be at least what they're predicting is a calm winter, but I really don't believe any of those guys that say that. Not here in Michigan. It's always the opposite, it seems like. Like, hey, it's going to be a nice calm winter, and then it turns out that it's not at all, and not even close, a calm winter. Then we'll have something like the Great Ice Storm of, what year was that? Insane. But I'm not ready for snow, regardless. I don't care if it brings holiday cheer and the business gets, a pickup. I don't care. I'm not ready for the winter. First Saturday in February. Oh yeah. Just hoping that the temps stay 19 or below from December until the I-500, the first Saturday. Oh yeah. Why, is that for the fishing? Ice fishing or something, right? Or what? What's the I-500? Maybe I'm not thinking clearly. When I was board of directors, we almost had to cancel one year due to the not making enough ice for the track. Oh, for the okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that would suck. What does the I stand for? Ice 500? 500 snowmobile? Yeah, well, that's insane. I don't think I could do 500 miles on a snowmobile, dude. International? Oh, damn. COVID was the only year it's ever been canceled. Wow. Damn COVID. All right, so I'm undoing the twist ties here on these fans. Nothing super exciting at this moment, but we're getting the fans ready to go into their respected homes. First thing we do is get the cables ready by undoing the twist ties to then install the fans. They have a 2 to 3 driver per team. Yeah, well, I still couldn't even do a third of that. A half or a third of 500 miles on a snowmobile would be like, no thank you. That's insane. I'll leave that to the pros, who are professional snowmobile riders who take snowmobile riding that seriously. I'm more of a, I like to hop on a snowmobile and have fun. And then within an hour, I'll be tired and want to go park it and open a beer. 15 years from since the last driver did the entire race alone. Wow. Yeah, that's because it's insane. 500 miles on a snowmobile. Think about it. Think about it for a minute. I mean, who does 500 miles on a snowmobile? Number one, you're in the snow in the winter. It's cold. Number two, you're on a snowmobile for 500 miles. I'm telling you, that's insane. Yeah, it gets pretty bumpy. Yeah, I'm sure it does as the ice gets torn up. They plow every 100 miles. Well, at least it's plowed. Well, how many people actually join this thing? This crazy event. Kind of sounds like something like the Cheeseburger Festival, but with snowmobiles instead of cheeseburgers. I mean, I guess we do stupid shit with our sailboats in the summer. I can't be one to talk too much. We have regattas in the summer. It's limited to 38 teams for a full field. Wow. I'm assuming it's like a huge event up there. And I'm just surprised I've never heard of it, because I feel like somebody had to have told me before. You probably told me about it before. But I'm just showing you how fried my brain is now. All right, 2 fans installed. Looking good, right? Yeah. Alright, so next we're going to install the two here on the side. These are going to be intake as well. Just like the bottom fans are intake. These are intake. As snowmobiles have become more comfortable riding and built for long rides, there could be 2 to 5 people on the lead lap for the end. Oh, nice. Yeah, LSSU did a financial impact study about 10 years ago and brought in about 2.5 to 3 million for the area for race week. Oh, that's definitely means it's going to stay on then. It's always about money. Build looking good there. I was thinking about getting an AIO cooler for your processor. Well, if you're gonna get one, if you're looking for one on the cheap, meaning not gonna blow your budget out, but gonna perform well, I would recommend taking a look at the Thermalright brand, which is available on Amazon. They have some pretty good coolers. This is actually a Thermalright AIO that we're gonna be using in this build. But they're great coolers for the price. You just can't beat it. Come on now. No gains. This is where that front glass coming off would be nice. Then I could stick my hand in there and hold the fan nicely. I think this is the 54th year of the race. Holy crap. Like, how did I not know about this? That's what I want to know. That's pretty badass. Somebody riding a snowmobile for 500 miles is pretty badass, in my opinion. If you're gonna ride a snowmobile for 500 miles, you must be a badass. They have been trying to get advertising through the state to make it more known. They go through Novi. Oh, they go to the Novi show every year? Oh, nice. Yeah, they definitely need to get into some more digital marketing about it, and then target people with snowmobiles, and I think you might get a pretty good showing off that, or result. So like social media marketing, digital marketing, and then get sponsorships. You know, stuff like that. That would be cool. Alright, last fan to go in before we do the AIO liquid cooler. What? Wow, didn't realize how cheap some of the coolers are now. Yeah. I mean, if you want a super fancy one, then you have to go spend some money, like a super nice one. But you really don't need to spend that kind of money. So these AIO coolers are only good for about 3 years. 2 to 3 years. Anyway. You know, most coolers are, because the heat pipes get worn out. And same thing with the liquid inside the loop. The liquid in the loop gets kind of dried up, and then it doesn't do its job anymore. But it's the same thing in a heat pipe on any type of air cooler, same result. Over time, the gas inside the heat pipe gets, I guess, degraded. There we go. We got all our fans installed. Look at how badass that's gonna look. Now we just need to get the radiator, the AIO installed. So we're gonna remove the mesh, and we're gonna mount that on the top here. Nice. This is when things start getting cramped. You know? And this is a 240 millimeter AIO that we're going to be installing. That is looking sexy. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, thank you. What we build over here is sexy PC. The hardware kit, and this is the actual cooler, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have to rotate these fans because they always put them on, pre-install them, the direction we don't use them. I feel like that's just what they do. What I mean by that, remove all of it. Yeah, so we want the hoses towards the front, and we can see here that these fan cables are on the wrong side. We want them flipped around so that the cables are on the other side, not on the front, obviously. So we got to rotate the fans real quick. Then we got to undo all the twist ties, the 5 million twist ties. You thought somebody driving a snowmobile 500 miles was crazy. How about somebody who sits here and undoes twist ties all day? Like 5,000 of them a week. Now that is a sanity check. I'm also going to have to get a new set of screwdrivers. The heads of my screwdrivers wear out pretty quickly. I mean, I don't ever strip the heads of my screws, but they just wear out. Kind of weird. Oh, you're looking at the Frozen Note 360 right now. Yeah, this is the Frozen Note 240. So, same cooler, just one fan smaller. Going to measure the case to make sure it fits. Yeah, if you know what case you have, just let me know and I can tell you if it's gonna fit or not. But you could also go on the website of your case manufacturer for the case, look up the case model, and it should have the spec sheet showing you exactly what AIO is going to fit in the case and where it fits. So then you know exactly where you're going to put it. They will specify which coolers will fit in there. What size anyway. And 360 millimeter is pretty standard, so... But yeah, I've used these Thermalright coolers a lot, and I really, really like them. Really like them for the price. You just can't beat it. They perform well, and they're pretty much the same thing as a $120 cooler. So it doesn't make any sense at all to spend money on a, you know, a higher or well-known brand versus the same thing, which is using the same design. Why would I? The exact design. I guess the only thing I would have liked to see on this case is a little bit better mesh, or no mesh at all here. But I think they did that for strength because they used a thinner metal. But having these open holes here for the radiator would have been nice. Would have been better airflow. But alright, we're getting the AIO radiator installed. We're just going to get that first screw started and then get the other corner here. Then we don't have to sit here and hold it as we're screwing it in. Get that runaway screw. And really, you don't have to use all, what is this, 8 screws. You could use 4 and be satisfied with it, but I'm going to put all the screws in. That's what we do here. It'll actually give the case a little bit more support too. There's some imperfections on the case, but not bad. Alright, there we go. So we just gotta sneak this guy in. Here. We are pumped. Connection. And then we have an addressable RGB connection here for the block, which we're gonna have to fish through the back there. And then we're gonna have all these RGB and fan cables that we get to deal with. So many of them. Alright, so let's peel this thing off the copper block of metal or copper. And that's how it ensures that it's clean when we put it on. And then we're going to get our thermal paste ready, as well as our hardware, mounting hardware. Mine has a honeycomb mesh. I don't remember which one that is, man. Is it Montech? Still plenty of open area. If it's Montech, it might be able to fit that 360mm on the front or 240. But I would prefer the AIO go on the top of the case if possible, because if you put it on the front, it means it's going to intake on the radiator and suck in all the hot air off the radiator into the PC. We really don't want to do that. We want to try to get the hot air out of the PC. So that's why I put the radiator on the top, and it's going to exhaust the hot air from the radiator out of the PC, directly out. You bought a Cyber Power a couple of years ago. I gotcha. So if you put it on the top, again, depending on if it supports it or not, or fits it, because you also have RAM clearance issues, and if the case isn't a little more modern, which if you bought it 2 years ago or more, it probably isn't going to work on the top, but maybe buy a case. It's well worth it, because if you put it on the front, you're dumping the hot air into the PC. That sucks, because now all the hot air is inside the PC, whereas if you put it on the top or a side mount like these two fans here, you can actually exhaust it right out to the outside of the PC. And then it doesn't have to deal with the heat from the CPU. You're just removing the heat completely from the computer. It's just exiting right out the top. That's why you want to try to do that. I just hate putting AIOs on the front of a PC now. Especially when I know I can do what I'm doing on this one, which is put the radiator on the top and have all the hot air exhaust. And then also keep in mind you're going to have to buy new thermal paste, because you're going to have to repaste your CPU. Now, the cooler does come with thermal paste. It's just not, you know, it's stuff that's only going to last about a year to 6 months. And then it'll start degrading. So if you're going to have it open and you don't want to open it up again in a year and repaste it, buy a quality paste like Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut or the NZXT, or not NZXT, the Noctua NTH2. This stuff is pretty good too. Or the stuff that I just put on here, which is the Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut. This stuff is expensive though. But, well, both of them are expensive. But it's well worth it, because it will last a good year or two before it starts degrading. Alright, so now that we got our paste on here, and our cables situated, we could go ahead and put this block on the CPU. I'm going to grab one lip, and get this in position for the second one. You're just going to have to look over my shoulder, I'm sorry. There we go, we got the lips clamped, and now we can just tighten this down. And we're just going to do a little bit on each side until we get pretty snug. There we go. Then we'll deal with this cable really quick. Try to get this out of the way. Not ugly looking. There we go. Now we're pretty much ready to drop the graphics card in here. Right? Okay, gotta run, enjoy the build. Enjoying the build? Nice. I'll enjoy the build. Back. Hit an AD. Hit an AD back. Okay, gotta run. Alright, man. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna... Yeah, we'll just put the graphics. We can do that. We got our RTX 3060 that we're gonna drop in here. I'm gonna bust these punch outs out. Then we're gonna loosen this panel. Actually, just remove it. And we'll drop our graphics card in. This is a RTX 3060 by Gigabyte. This is the Eagle. This is the 12 gig version, not the 8 gig version. You get more VRAM, a little bit better performance. And it's got the two larger fans on it. So even though it's not a 3-fan card, it still has the a larger, two larger fans with some copper heat pipes. And we are pretty much ready to rock and roll with the power supply next. Get everything plugged in, and then fire it up. Holy smokes, look at all this stuff. That's a lot of cables to deal with. That's not even all of them. One thing I forgot to deal with before we put that graphics card in, dang it. Just remembered. One thing we forgot to deal with. Okay, not the end of the world. It's gonna be a little more difficult to get it in. Now that we're already here. Yeah, we're pretty much just gonna have to take this card back out. I don't see a way of doing this without doing this. Because we need to run these cables down here underneath the card in order to make this work. And then put the card back in. do I want to get a connection going down there as well? Probably should. Probably should. That's not a big pain in the ass later. Okay. The little things that you don't really want to think about until you're in the moment and you're like, ah, yeah, should have done that. Okay. There we go. Now we're back on track. Put the card back in. There we go. Card is installed. We just gotta now flip it back over and deal with some of those cables, get the power supply installed, and we'll be on our way. Quite nicely. Okay. All this crap stays up here. All of this crap runs down here. Some sort of organized fashion, right? We need zip ties. Lots of zip ties here. Try to make this as clean as possible without getting too crazy. Alright, let's drop this power supply in here. This power supply is what will actually power what provides power, so it's always good not to go cheap on your power supply. It's also important to make sure you face your fan towards your ventilation. If you don't have it facing your ventilation, your power supply will overheat and burn out very quickly. So make sure your power supply is ventilating properly. With the fan facing up, we have ventilation on the panel that goes over this portion of the power supply, and it will be well ventilated, allowing a long life for this power supply. At least that's the plan. Give it its best chance. Okay, so before we run these cables, we just want to tidy up this a little bit. I might actually just kind of push it under here, because to undo this, if something needs to be undone, it's going to be a pain in the ass. I'd rather just kind of have these cables free. Already have a big pain in the butt if we have to do the bottom. Oh boy. There for now. That's our CPU EPS cable. Then we just got to get a PCIe cable to the other side. Then we can flip it over and plug everything in. Flip it back over, finish the cable management. Then we're golden. Put up a good fight, but we got it. We want these cables to kind of come over the top of the graphics card, because if we go down below, there's not a lot of wiggle room here for cables. I just don't want a cable to get stuck in a fan. We're going to come over the top like this, and we'll zip tie that up. I'll pull this through a little bit and plug this 24 pin into the motherboard. This is what provides power to the motherboard. That 24 pin right there. We got our 8-pin PCIe for the graphics card, 24 pin for our motherboard, and then our 8-pin EPS CPU power. This is what powers the CPU directly. It has its own special power cord. We'll get that plugged in there. Perfect. So now we just got to zip tie this a little bit on the inside. Make it look fancy. Again, I don't know why manufacturers still use these pigtails on these power cables, but I hate them. I hate the pigtails. They're ugly. They're useless. Shouldn't use them. Dangerous. They just shouldn't exist, in my opinion. Okay, so with all that being done, all we gotta do is tidy this up. Plug our pump in. Then we'll finally fire this bad boy up for the first time. Almost there. Sick. Stick that dick in the motherboard. What? Dude. Where'd that come from? Over on Kick? We put the power cable in the motherboard. Not putting any, we're not ramming anything into the board or uploading any, I don't know, uploading anything to it. I have no idea what you're talking about. We'll just kind of put those cables there. I mean, where else are we going to put them? There we go. Put that back panel back on. Hide all those cables. Oh, so much better. We're just over an hour. Looks beautiful in here. Absolutely stunning. Minus that cable just kind of doing whatever it wants to do here. But is what it is. There you have it. Looks pretty, huh? Alright, so let's get this cleaned up real quick and then we'll get it plugged in and fired up. Need to clean up the crap off the bench here. Get all this crap in here, off here. And let's get fired up. Ready to see this thing fired up for the first time? First ever run. Never before has the world seen this PC. Right? Go ahead and switch the views here. Beautiful. Going to be an excellent view when we fire this thing up. We've got power to the system. Let's actually just drop that camera down just a little bit. Perfect. So we've got power. Got everything plugged in. You guys ready to see this thing live for the first time ever? Powered on. Punch it. It's gonna be that lovely gigabyte orange. There you have it. It's all fired up. It's posting. Hit that Y for the FTM. And did we go Windows 10 or... Looks like we're going Windows 11. Still get a lot of requests on it. Fire this. Let's get this bad boy done. Yeah? Well, there you have it. There's today's build. All built, ready to go. The RGB, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to change the lighting until we get into Windows and get the RGB Fusion software set up. So you're stuck on the default gigabyte orange color until we get that software set up, which we'll be doing. So don't worry, it's not stuck on an orange color, orange reddish color, even though it looks pretty badass. But we'll be able to adjust those lights to the rainbow color, such as what the RAM's doing right now. Once we get into Windows and once we have the RGB software set up, so we'll be able to customize it. Outside of that, that's pretty much going to conclude today's stream. I hope you enjoyed the build, and if you are watching, again, I hope you enjoyed it. But we got some more builds coming up, so stay tuned. We'll always have more builds, but just make sure you stay tuned, hang out next time we're live. It's always fun when people hop in and ask questions and hang out and enjoy. So, all right, guys, have a good rest of your Wednesday. Hope the rest of your week is just as cool as the first half. Hopefully it was. Stay frosty, my friends.